Schling Schlong Ticket Ting Tong.
Welcome to the Still Dripping Happy Hour. This is your host, Mason. We're missing one once again, but we got Hayes Holla.
We back.
And we got LP.
And 2 weeks in a row. Thanks for having me back as a guest. I'm happy to be here again.
Yeah, we had to get you back after you hit the West Coast. Just check in with you.
West Coast hit me, but we'll talk about that later.
Let's go right ahead. Jump right into it.
We'll get to that. I don't know. I think I want to hear what Landon was just about to say right before we started the podcast.
I did too.
We're fresh off a Titans win, so hit us with some controversy.
Just do the thing now that he's been weird. Go follow the Instagram.
No, my internet just got messed up. What did you say?
Oh my gosh. No,
Sorry,
too late. Go ahead, Mason.
Here.
Nope. Go, Mason. Right. Do the thing and then cut all this out.
All right. Before we get into Landon talking about some Titans hot takes, everybody go follow the Instagram at Still Dripping TN and the Twitter, even though we don't tweet.
We tweet like crazy.
Sure.
Hit the DMs.
Anyways, so Titans win a great game.
And the card one, we had 5 new followers last week and no posts, 0 posts.
Nobody cares.
Somebody even sent us a message on there. I don't even know if you noticed, but go follow the card one. Still Dripping Cards, cookies on the bottom.
If you're
shelf.
following it, unfollow it right now.
Shut up.
It's not worth your time.
Oh, you're some help. Anyway, West Coast, spit it.
I thought we were talking about Titans.
Yeah, we're talking about the Titans.
Oh, my bad.
We'll get to the West Coast.
How about them Titans, baby? So we're talking about some Titans all-time greats. Mason showed his Vince Young jersey, VY, the greatest MVP in Titans history. Hayes was talking about some throwbacks and Yancey Thigpen, the greatest experiment of all time.
Carl
Jake
Pickens.
Locker, the greatest first-round draft pick of all time. And then I was like, defensively, who are the all-time greats? You got the Javon Kershes, the ones that are just, that's a given. But then you've got Pac-Man Jones. Indisputably, one of the highest ceiling Titans players of all. His ceiling was
I can agree with that.
So high. Like, those punt returns, also, he's a special teams guy, right?
Yeah.
Here's a fun question. How old do you think Pac-Man Jones is right now?
35.
33.
Pac-Man Jones is 38 years old.
He's 38?
How does that make you feel, Hayes?
Holy crap. I thought he was a lot younger than me. We're 3 years apart.
Y'all could have been at the strip club.
He could have been my brother. Just getting some wings.
6 man like Lou Will.
Oh my goodness.
Lemon Pepper Lou.
Man, this is starting off strong.
Yeah, starting off rocky. I will say that he may be the highest ceiling, but in terms of on-field production, I would say we missed out. Off-field production, he was very productive.
Yeah, he was hitting triple doubles.
He was hitting triple doubles. But yeah, on-field, I don't know.
All right, so I'm going to
What was that MJ quote? The ceiling is the roof.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that was Pac-Man.
All right, I'm going to give a hot take. We talked about this briefly, but I've found my hot take would be there's a direct correlation with my football fandom, or I'd say at this point lack of, and fantasy sports. 3, maybe 4 years ago at this point, I stopped playing fantasy because it was just a time suck, and it made the games not fun because all I was doing was rooting for Russell Wilson or Calvin Johnson, who doesn't even play it. It was I didn't even care about the outcome of the game anymore. I just cared if my dude was, and it wasn't fun. So I stopped playing. And the weird thing is I stopped watching football. I haven't watched a full football game in probably college or pro in probably 3 years. So it'd be an interesting poll to see how many other people are in my boat where they're really just keeping up with sports of any kind because of fantasy. Think I'm right or wrong?
So that's the epiphany I had during my trip to LA. I want to equate what you just said to my position in the sneaker game right now.
Oh no, this sucks already.
So rewind it back. What'd you say about you're so keyed in and focused on those players that you couldn't enjoy even the outcome of the game? I feel like I've been so laser focused in on sneakers and getting every drop, every hype drop, that I haven't taken a minute just to step back and enjoy. I feel like I don't enjoy it like I did before I got this deep into it. And I feel like going to it didn't like. I remember the first time walking down Fairfax, going to round 2, going to undefeated, going to Supreme, going to Bape. It's like that first time feeling, right? And maybe I'm just like past the honeymoon stage, but like this is my 3rd time out there. It's a little bit different because I was with family this time, but it's just like, I don't know, man. What's the purpose of it all? That's what I was left with.
See, for me, there's been a direct correlation with my sports, specifically football fandom, and this genre, this shoe fashion. Like we're going in different directions here. Like I still love all of that. I don't. Yeah. The funny thing is there's always a connection between sports and fashion and shoes and that kind of thing. That's the irony of the thing. It's pretty ironic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah. I think that's Landon kind of keyed on why I never really felt like selling shoes was my avenue. I felt like it was a lot more draining than it was. Like I'll go to Goodwill and it's more of the thrill of the hunt of going to Goodwill, finding something, flipping it. But I know that I don't have the stress of if something doesn't sell. Whereas for shoes, for me, when I would get a pair of shoes, no matter the value or anything, I just always felt like, well, crap, I've got to sell this. I just spent $250 on this, $200. And so I found that when I would do that, it would really drain me. And I'd be like, well, I don't want to buy these shoes again. Like if I hit and it's something I don't want, then I've got to sell it. I mean, obviously you can return it, but then it's like, well, all that's a waste.
But there's an opportunity cost, right?
Right. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Which is also, but the trick to that part of this is buying a shoe that's not your size. Like that solves a lot of it. So unless it's something that I'm genuinely trying to go for, I don't get my size because I don't want to get sucked into that dilemma of, oh crap, do I keep it? Or no, I got to get my money back at least. And just get a different size, bro.
Well, it's not even with the keeping or selling. Even if I knew I was going to sell them because I didn't like the shoe, it was still I guess I would just get stressed out about the money aspect.
The stress of the money. That makes sense. That's real.
In terms of fantasy, I get what you're saying with football. For me, football is a little harder to watch. I don't generally find myself watching an entire game unless it is the Titans, just because that's my team. But that kind of goes out the window for basketball, and I don't play fantasy basketball. Like I will watch hundreds of games, it seems like, this season, which is terrible waste of time. But football, I can have it on the background. I don't really get sucked in as much on that. I don't know. I don't know. Football just isn't my game, I guess.
So can I answer my question about what it's all about?
What is it all about, Landon?
So after a couple of days of just roaming through LA, questioning my life and my decisions and why I brought my family out to LA, I ran across this man on the streets of Santa Monica, overlooking the beach. Beautiful Sunday. No, he's a nice guy. He had a family.
No. Look, if you've never been to Santa Monica, it's beautiful, but there is a lot of plight It's just not, you don't see it on TV. It's
Wait,
very
what?
plighty. There's a lot of homeless people and like junkies and like,
Oh, dude, Santa Monica is like nice. You see a lot less of that
That's what I'm saying.
compared to like Venice. You
well,
go to
that
Venice
was
Beach.
not, that's not been my
Yeah.
experience, but go ahead.
Yeah. Anyways, I'd say this dude was like mid 40s, mid to late 40s, had a family. And he rolls up next to me. We're waiting to cross the street, get the green light. And he looks down. He's like, "Whoa, those shoes are so dope." And like just as authentic as ever. Like I could tell the way he was dressed and everything. He was not a sneakerhead. This dude was wearing like a
Yep.
Oxford button down with some shorts and some flip flops. He was an
And
old
you're
dad.
wearing on clouds, I'd bet.
I had some ASIC gel lights, multicolors
There you
from
go.
about a year
Okay.
ago. But you could tell the essence and the purity of his love and like adoration for my shoes was not because it was coveted on the shelves of Flight Club going for
Mhm.
thousands of dollars. He was just like that reminds me of like my running days in the 80s. Like I wore ASICs and like that's awesome. Like it brought him back to a time further back in his life, and he just with the purity. I wish I could appreciate shoes with the purity that he appreciated my shoes in that moment. And I'll be honest, I didn't know what to say. Like I was speechless because I've been so inundated and surrounded outside of Santa Monica. Santa Monica is more like a family touristy spot. You know, I'd spent a lot of time in Melrose and Fairfax and LA, Hollywood, where that's just the norm. Like everyone is out there stunning, and you're forced to compare yourself to everyone. But here in this most unexpected place in Santa Monica, this dad just like put it all into perspective for me.
All right, that's great. Where did you go? I know you went to Kith. You should have posted it to our Instagram. So what was that like?
It was just like we went to Kith Treats, so that was really cool. We got some ice cream. If you don't know about Kith Treats, they've got locations in LA, New York, Miami, and it's this shoe store, but then it's well known for the ice cream shop inside called Kith Treats, and they put cereal, they grind up cereal and put it in the ice cream, and like all these celebrities and fashion icons have their own like Kith Treats like mixture of ice cream and cereal. So I got the flat white, which is Virgil's. It's a cinnamon toast crunch, toffee, and ice cream. It's incredible. So good. So good. So Kith was great. I honestly did not even go and look into the store because there was a line to get into the store, but you could walk right in. Yeah, so you could walk right in and get ice cream. So I was like, I'm just getting ice cream because the thing is, this is another thing that I noticed in LA is, you know, we've talked about the housing market, and I'm being serious in this. Housing market in Nashville is crazy. So many people are moving from the West Coast to Tennessee and to the South that honestly, you know, it's been about 2 years since I've been to LA. I feel like Nashville is becoming like LA. Like there were very few things that like in the moment I was like, wow, I couldn't experience this back home in Nashville. So I feel like Nashville is assimilating to the group of people that are migrating out this way. So there's just not as much nuance out there and freshness, which is interesting.
What was the downer? Like, did you go into any place that you thought you might go into? Did you go into round two, or what was the downer?
I'll tell you exactly what the downer was. I went to the Melrose Trading Post, which is set up at Fairfax High School. It's like a flea market, and it's just sprawling, just hundreds of tents set up. But
so it's kind of like the Rose Bowl that you see Sean go to in a way.
Well, yeah, it's like the Rose Bowl, and then Sean goes to the Melrose Trading Post too. And you look over, and it's on Fairfax, where a lot of the big stores are that got rioted, or that got looted right during the riots. And Flight Club is still boarded up. It's over a year later, it's boarded up. I don't know if it moved, but like the sign's still there, but it's just like a depressing like void of skeleton of what it used to be. And it was just such an ominous, I don't know, because like I was there when it had the walls of just thousands of dollars of just the greatest shoes ever, and for it to just get destroyed. And then another, I'm ranting at this point, but round two, they've really trimmed down their stock, and again they got looted as well. And so
I
there's
didn't
stuff
know that.
oh yeah, and so there
Oh,
was stuff in that
no.
store that could never be replaced because of the
Oh.
vintage stuff. And so at the height, they had 3 shops. They had a vintage shop, round
Yeah.
2, and then they had a round 2 like merchandise store that just sold merchandise. The merchandise store shut down after the looting, and the vintage store, there's so much less stuff. The regular round 2 store with like shoes and Bape and Supreme, there's not much stock. It just seems like they're either limiting their stock and going online. I know they went online during COVID, but I don't know. It just didn't have the same feel.
That's
I feel like they're
sad.
kind of pulling back. It is sad. So I was trying to end on a high note with that guy, but then you asked me the question.
I'm sorry.
about-
No, this isn't this isn't all high note podcast, especially when I'm on here. Like,
And the flea market, it's ridiculous. Like when you think of a flea market, you think of like fair prices, stuff that people find at a garage sale. Like these guys were doing what we were doing years ago with, going and finding vintage stuff, but they're listing it for like $40 to $50 for like, not even concert tees, just stuff from the 90s and early 2000s. So it's just become an overly saturated market that's overvalued.
Yeah.
That's my
Well,
take.
you didn't ask, but I was traveling last week too. And I went to very remote places in Florida, came back from my vacation, and then we went to Austin to see my third child loves the rapper NF. And so if you're listening to this podcast and you're into that kind of thing, you should go check out NF. He is a Christian man that is not a Christian rapper, if that makes sense. So it's not like hymns and that kind of thing, but he raps about his life.
Like Kanye West.
Ish.
Like
No,
Kendrick Lamar.
Closed on Sunday.
No.
You have my
He's
Chick-fil-A.
very unique. He raps. He has OCD, so he raps about like struggles with that and anxiety. And anyway, it doesn't matter. My third child has some of that going on. It loves NF, like absolutely loves him and a lot. So we were going to a concert in Birmingham 2 weeks ago before I went to Florida. The amphitheater got flooded. They had a bunch of storms down there. It gets flooded. The concert gets canceled. And my wife was like, make this happen at all possible. You have to get him to this concert. And there's only 2 left. And one of them was in Austin, Texas, Saturday night. So I flew into Austin Saturday morning, and I had to get on a plane at 8:30. We after a week of vacation, get on a plane at first world problems, by the way. Look, I realized this is not difficult here, but we go to Austin. I've got hours to burn before the concert. So you know what we usually do. We, like, if you're into this kind of thing, you immediately start looking for shoe stores. You look for the Nike town. You look for that. Dude, Austin is a cool city. Crappy Nike. It's awful. I walked in there.
Just all
and
Texas stuff.
No, it wasn't even that. That's what I
Really?
expected. I
Huh.
expected a lot of Texas stuff, but I expected, if you've ever been to a Nike town, you expect the multi-level things and like the Jordan shoe wall that's nothing but Texas colors, rust brown or whatever the heck color they are, whatever you want to call it, mustard or anywho. There's none of that.
Burnt,
They have
burnt orange. It's not that
Yeah.
burnt
hard.
orange.
Yes, that's right.
You walk in and it's like, it's as big as this room I'm in right now, which I'm in my sunroom. Like it is, and it's 800 square foot or whatever. It's tiny.
You went
It's
to a
got
clearance
horrible
store.
selection. No, I didn't go to I specifically went to the Nike store, the official Nike store in Austin, Texas, and it's trash. It's absolutely trash. I was
You
so
should have
disappointed.
gone to the clearance store then. It would
I
been
should have
better
gone to
than
the
that.
clearance store.
Yeah.
It would have been better than what I went to. But Austin's a cool city outside of their Nike or their, I don't know. They don't have a great fashion culture like they do barbecue. Maybe bad.
How's COVID out
correlation.
there? How are the policies? Nothing.
Never existed.
Wild Wild West.
It's like
I'll be-
Texas. It's like
I'll be
Florida.
honest. California wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I did get asked more times there to put my mask on than I have in my whole year of COVID in Nashville.
Really?
Yeah.
Not surprising.
Like,
Yeah, that's not surprising.
People are like, store owners are just like, I think it's just like a common thing. They're just like, they feel like they are empowered to enforce it. Where in Nashville, I think people either don't care, or don't feel like they have the empowerment to do that. But like one time really kind of got under my skin because we're getting ice cream and my daughter was acting up and I was getting on to her, and I visibly like had my hands full, like getting onto her. And in the like moment of like righting a wrong that my child did, this like high school, employee working at this ice cream shop had the audacity to say, "Sir, could you please put your mask up?" And I did. And then they said, credit or cash. And I said, "It'll be cash." Take my dirty cash. I didn't.
Oh my
say that.
gosh.
I did pay cash though. But it's just like, man,
All
give
right.
me a break. Give me a break. Let me talk to my child, and then like give me a second. There is no one else in the store. I'm vaccinated, so shout out. Like,
I wonder if there's, because
shut up, Hayes.
I've wondered this a little bit.
I'm not mad.
There's more important things in that moment than me
Way
putting
more
on
important.
a piece of
Way
cloth.
Way
on my
more
face.
important. Way
Absolutely.
more. Especially if
Do you
you're a parent and it's a principal. You're mad because it's a principal. And that's how I operate too. It's like, it's not even about, I don't get mad about many things, but principles I get mad at.
Do you think that
And, like,
store owners could get fined though? Because like you wouldn't get fined, as I don't believe. If
Here's
you just,
the real kicker. We went to a market downtown, and it's like, what's this? The Seattle market, right? With all the like, it's an outdoor place. Like it's indoors, but like you don't walk through a door. Everything's open. And this security guy, like, I'm walking up to it, and like I'm respectful. If I go inside, I understand. I'm in California. I'm gonna wear a mask. The time of the ice cream place, the reason I was getting on to my daughter was because she pulled my mask off of me. And like this person saw that. I'm like, sympathy here. I understand you're way far out from having kids, but like, give me a freaking second. So, but anyways, we're going to this market, and the security guard, he's like, mask up. I'm like, I can go in the middle of this complex, see open air. This is an outdoor facility.
it's a different world.
I
And
might
then-
have to, can I say something? You're going to have to bleep.
Well, then on the sidewalk, you've got people protesting, the vegans protesting
Oh my.
while I'm just throwing down 2 bratwursts.
Mason, just get ready. I would have said, and you just watched this. Like, that's a lot to Mason. That's a lot. I'm sorry, but that's a real train of thought.
Dude, they were
Mason,
were
I'll lose
getting
my
it.
job. I trust you. Guess how many times I ran into that in Florida and Texas?
Probably 0.
Probably 0. I have a theory. Part of it, this is weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm way off base, but I don't get any crap ever. And I'm the most rebellious on this thing. And it's not even about, man, I'm sorry. Like I'm probably the one that's not vaxxed, but I've been exposed. My family has had it. I'm an O positive. I probably had it and didn't know it. Like I'm that. And I'm Kyrie Irving. Like, I don't like how any of this feels. And so I don't like to be told. I'm very rebellious. Like it's not about the science. It's not about any of that. What I'm saying is, I think for some reason, I don't know. I sometimes I've felt a vibe of not intimidation, because I don't think I'm a very intimidating figure unless you know me. You know me, you're not very intimidated, right? I'm just harmless. I'm just like to talk crap and be an idiot. But if you saw me and I look like this, I look like Fred Durst, right? Look at this big old beard. This is the biggest my beard's ever been. Like, I don't know. I feel like it kind of repels idiots. Either way,
Maybe you just are the idiot.
I'm totally the idiot. I'm fine with that. Like, I am totally comfortable with myself. And I'm not going to change. I'm 41. It is what it is. Anyway, there was a good rant about culture and things, current events.
Yeah, before we actually get into sneakers, which is, if you're a first-time listener, what this podcast is supposed to
We
be
talked
about.
about some sneakers. No.
We talked
He was
about
in
a little
LA.
bit. We talked about a little bit of the culture. But while we're on this subject, maybe I should say, Hayes, we discussed this at length on our last podcast. But I've got a clip here, and I just want you to listen.
I heard.
Oh, you
Oh,
heard?
Go ahead.
He's
go
got
ahead,
receipts. He's got
Okay.
receipts.
Yeah, well, no, Landon, we talked about this, so you know. But can you explain what kind of virus you're describing here?
I think it starts with a C and ends with an I virus.
What is starts with a C and ends with an INA virus?
The INA virus.
Well, the H would be semi-silent. It should have been Heine virus. However, you get what I'm saying. Starts with the
More
E,
confused
C, and ends with the high. It would have been China, bruh. Come at me. Get at me, China.
How did you go from
INA
that?
virus.
What?
China virus.
It's called the
It's commonly-
coronavirus.
Yeah, some people. But if you're trying to be disrespectful because you feel like it,
Or if you're hanging out in
Anyway.
Florida.
Oh,
I feel like everybody
With
that
Trump.
listens to this, if y'all had heard, like, oh my goodness, I feel like people that listen to this just assume way too much. Like, y'all got to understand, like, I am the, you can call me whatever. I'm not left or right. I just call it like I see
That's
it.
so much garbage. That's so much garbage.
I agree with
enter-
Hayes.
I just call it like I see it. Like but it feels like, oh, that means that I'm way over here. And I'm not. I'm reasonable. And that comes off
we need a
as
poll.
something
We need
else.
We need an Instagram
You
poll.
can poll it all you want. I'll tell you exactly how I
Well, the
feel
polls
about
are
everything.
rigged, right? So,
So
it doesn't matter.
Well, I asked one of our listeners what they thought, and they know you. And they said the way you hold back makes you seem like you're more right than you are. Does that make sense? So you will
Okay, so-
stop talking about the subject before you get into actually what you want to say.
So here's
That's where
here's
they
what-
think that you're more right than you really are.
I am Joe Rogan. Because here it is. The reality is I'm anti a lot of the things and culture that the left tells you you're supposed to be. That doesn't mean I'm right. I'm just not against. I'm just not. I hate that in this world that we live in, you got to be one or the other. I'm just not. I'm not for a lot of the things that go on over there. And I hate that that means you're painted into a corner of left or right. Like I really am not. I mean it. I hate both of them. I think this person is a crazy racist. And I think this person is a crazy person that doesn't have any context or concept of self-responsibility. And that means that I'm here. But I get it. Like that person,
Yeah.
I can understand because I'm trying to be like, look, we all have government jobs. Like I'm trying to keep my job. Now, the irony is that my job doesn't care. And my job is very similar to how I operate. But that's the lane I'm trying to play in here is if everybody's self-governed and you had personal responsibility, the world would be a better place. Racism is real, and that sucks, and those people should be dead. Not everybody's trying to kill everybody, and that's the reasonable person. I think that's what that means, and take it for whatever it's worth.
Do you feel like a person like yourself is alienated because you're not allowing the push to left or right?
I feel like I'm no, not necessarily. I don't think I'm alienated. But the other thing is, I don't give a crap. What that's the other part.
I guess
don't
you
care
do.
if I'm alienated
That's
or
true.
not.
That's a great point. To be alienated, you actually have to care, right?
Oops. Don't care. Alienate me.
Hey,
I'm gonna have my self-governing.
I mean, yeah. I do at some point want to get intern Landry on here. One, because he doesn't know you, Hayes, right? He just knows from the podcast, and I value his fairness and his judgment, and I'd love to get his take on it. But anyways, what I was saying was, I feel like, Hayes, you embody what my experience was in like the early 2000s of society, and maybe even like the late 90s, before things became so polarized. And that's a good thing. That's a compliment.
100%. That's it. That is what I am.
Right.
I am that person.
And maybe I had a very insulated upbringing.
What you're saying is correct. Go ahead.
And so, but always, I take everything I say with a grain of salt and say, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I lived a very insulated life. That was like 5th grade. That was like middle and high school. Grew up in a suburban, affluent, white neighborhood. But like life was good then, like pre 9/11, maybe. And
no, something changed.
No. And I'm not saying 9/11 was what changed it all, but those like late 90s, early 2000s, I felt personally, just speaking on myself, and maybe I wasn't consumed by all the things. Social media wasn't a huge part of society. And that's one thing that is the influence of fabricated social media. Have y'all read much about this? Right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we were being fed so much
negative.
Yeah.
You should fight. You should hate people. Like, we are fed that constantly. Here is it.
But yeah.
My upbringing was especially in Nashville for that time, it was half and half. The area of town I grew up in was not all white, and it was not all black. It was Hispanic. That's the area of town I grew up in. My dad was a youth minister. My dad practiced what he preached. My house was the house that we had a basketball goal in our backyard, and my backyard was constantly full of every culture, every whatever, every not. They weren't all Christian. In fact, they were intentionally not all Christian, so that my mom on a hot summer day pulled us all in, and then we would make a craft. No crap, this is real. We'd make a craft, and then she'd give us a Bible story while we're crafting some. And these kids, like, and this is totally normal to me. Like, that's just how I grew up. And so you fast forward, and the other part to it is I've been so involved in other parts of whatever culture, black culture, Hispanic, whatever, where this is not a thing of you don't see black and white and you don't see, that is not true. Like that's bull crap. And people tell you, oh, I don't see color. That's absolute horse crap. It is more acknowledging differences and being totally fine with it. And like, you still have a common goal and that kind of thing. And that's how I operate, is that we're all on the same team. Like, and so that's why this is so difficult in society, is it's either one or the other. And that sucks. And the people that operate that way suck. And I don't care if it's this side or that side. That's bullcrap. Because I think most people in life operate somewhere in here where racism real. Everybody's trying to kill everybody if you're not white, and it's a white supremacy culture. Like, I don't agree with that, because I have brown kids and white kids in my house. And so I I don't know what you want to do with that. Like it's complicated. So, but you're
That's the thing.
exactly right.
You're exact. I feel like, yes, it's complicated, right? And I feel, in my experience, we've entered as a society into this witch hunt mentality where it's like, let's get the pitchforks out, let's find the side that doesn't agree with us, and we're just going at them, and everybody come along, and it's unity for the sake of disunity. That's not even a word.
No, it's because here's my theory is that whoever even they is at this point, want us to be not in relationship. They want us to be not connected. And that's what my theory is. And this is, dude, I know when you hear this, you feel like, oh, this is some crazy right. Like, I'm not. This is just practical. When you take away everything that connects. So think about the last year. You took away church. You took away sports. You took away concerts. You took away all that crap that brings us together. You took it away. Okay, so have you ever been? I've never personally, as a North Carolina fan or any whatever fan, I have never been in a situation where if I'm in the Dean Dome, we're all cheering for the same team. Like, it brings you together. It doesn't matter if the dude next to me, whatever he is, he could be a freaking alien and I don't give a crap. We're all cheering for the same team. Well, what if you take all that away? Then you focus on the negative. You focus on why we're different and why we hate each other and that kind of crap. And that's what bothers me. And that's why, like, all that bothers the crap out of me, that I feel like society is trying to get us to hate each other.
So where do we go from here? Because
Sneakers.
pre-COVID, we were all at our throats, right? Think about it. I feel like we as a society have not dealt with the fallout. Or I guess that was during COVID as well, but the social unrest. But then it's like COVID just continues to like string along. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, it's the same. So I'm now I'm a threat because I'm not vaccinated. Like, it's the same thing that continues on. So now it is. Now Hayes doesn't care about people. He doesn't care about old people. He doesn't care about people that are blah, 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 blah. It has nothing to do with any of that. It really doesn't. If you want to know how I really feel about any of this related to COVID, would be go listen to Jonathan Isaac talk about it. Like, that's how I feel about it. I don't like anybody tell me what to do. I don't like it. This feels weird to me that I'm pressured. That is the anti-love language of me, is tell me what to do and I'm going to do the opposite. It doesn't, I have a human condition problem. Like, it's sin. Like, that's what it is. I struggle with that and I will forever. Like, that's what that is about. It is so much of our issues and anything in related society comes down to sin. It's not black. It's not white. It is sin in our nature. And we have to fight against it. So Christians, I think, have failed in a lot of ways, whether you're white, black or white. Like, I think that has been a failure of bringing things together.
So I was reading an article, and I work in higher ed, had a professor that just published a book talking about the fabricated right-wing religion, right? Religious movement, right? And how they've leaned on the principles of the church, but all of their actions are so far on the other end. Like, the left, their thoughts of unity and love and let's treat others equally, but still divorced from the church, is still closer to, I feel like, what we're to do call as Christians than what the right is currently promoting as this is white evangelical,
Totally fair,
right?
Yep. In the same way, listen, this Mason, to your point, I think it's absolutely ridiculous right now that when you read, this is why also I've cut off Facebook. I don't do news. Because I don't trust anything that comes out. Because when you hear people say, oh, it's my body, my choice if I get vaccinated. That's absolutely horse beep, because now you're saying, well, how does that not apply to abortion, you dummy? Like, if that's that's your rationale, that doesn't make any sense as it relates in logic terms of, well, then why wouldn't you let a lady who just got raped, if that's her choice? It's like self-governing. Look, I'm not telling you that I don't agree. That's the irony here, is that I don't think you should kill a baby, but I can understand, but I don't think it's right for a person on the right to say all of a sudden that, oh, it's my body, my choice. Like, that's bullcrap. I don't agree with that at all. Like, come up with a better argument. I just don't trust anything that comes out of the mouths of anybody that's related to politics or big corporations or government, period.
Yeah. Before any of this became an issue, I always thought that as well. And just, there's issues that in my brain, and I'm not the smartest person in the world, so you take this with a grain of salt. There's issues like, it's my body, it's my choice, but abortion is bad. Like, almost all issues are similar to that on both sides, that we don't agree. So any issue that you want to talk about is, there's two sides to it. There's way more than two sides to it, because we paint these pictures of, there's two choices, one's right and one's wrong, when there's 50 different ways you could look at it, and everything is a lot more
100%.
complicated.
Context, like Hay said, context.
Yes, context is everything. And not even speaking to politics. Well, I mean, it's unfortunate, but politics are just wrapped up in church nowadays. And like you're saying, if the only thing that should be worried about in church is loving people. But we go to an all-white church, and it doesn't always look like that. It looks sometimes like more judgment than,
I've been there, done that,
than love, right? And I'm not saying I'm not pointing fingers.
Correct.
Because I certainly do it. But I'm still okay to say that's not what I'm trying to do. I don't think that makes me a hypocrite because I do it, but that's not my goal. I'm striving to do something else. But in church in America right now is, I guess, partisan than what Jesus looked like, right?
Yeah.
Jesus was political, but he wasn't part of a party.
Yep.
So
I think when it comes down to it, the answer to your question is, I definitely know that I'm conservative. That doesn't mean I'm a Republican. That doesn't mean I'm a Democrat. Like, it doesn't mean that. It means that somewhere in there is that I don't believe a man, biologically born a man, you can be offended, and I don't give a crap if you don't listen to this podcast again. I don't care. I don't think you should play sports with a girl, in box against a woman. I don't think that's fair. That's one side of it. I don't think that's right. I don't think that person shouldn't be allowed to do what they want to do, though, because it's freaking America. And I think it's weird, and I think it's gross or whatever. I don't think that means that they shouldn't be able to do what they want to do in the world that they live in, because it's freedom. And that doesn't always sound perfect, but that's kind of how I do this, is that I think you get to choose what you want to do, because that's freedom, and that's what America's about. I don't think you get to force that onto me, though, either, is the other side of the coin, is that I really struggle with, we're going to make these big, massive, whatever changes for a percentage of the population that is very small, that has a huge impact on me. And that might sound selfish, and newsflash, I'm selfish. I struggle with this human condition. Like, it's true. But I don't think it's fair for a sliver, really minute. You go look at the LGBTQ website. It's 4% of the populace aren't. So I don't think that's fair to make a decision for the 96% that impacts me majorly for that. I don't think that's fair either. So, but it's just logic. It's just math.
You're right.
So that's
Yeah.
So you want to know where I'm at? That's where I'm at. And I feel like that means I'm in the middle. But the stupid part of the world we're in right now means that means for some reason that means I'm right. And you can think that. I'm not going to be offended. I love you if you think that. That's fine. I feel like Joe Rogan and Kanye West, if they ran in, that's who I'd vote for.
All right. Bringing the people together. I feel like that was just a good enough pod to wrap it up
Wow.
there. I had some sneaker
Shoes.
news.
How is
to
this
talk
about
but-
shoes?
Are we gonna have to recategorize this podcast after this episode?
Maybe.
I think I've retired from shoes and have gotten into
It was stressful.
social issues.
Relatively, I don't really care. I'm not positively or negatively impacted.
Hey man, it is what it is. We go down this road. We always
go down
claim
this
that it's
road.
more than sneakers, right? And there it is.
We're connected by, listen, if you're listening to this podcast, don't get it twisted. Like, we are connected by the blood of Jesus. And you might never know that from this. And you might. And that's great. But I hope you know that most of the things in life that you are connected with and that you have commonality in, if you dig deeper, it's not about shoes or sports or Titans or whatever. It's just you want to be involved in a community that loves you. Like, that's what that is. And in my experience in 41 years, the only way to find that is through Jesus.
Hey, keep preaching. Hey, where's the invitation song? If you're out there, if you're listening and you don't feel like you have that community,
this is the time.
Shoot us
It's
a
not
DM.
perfect. It's not perfect. It's ugly. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. It's difficult, but in the end, it's beautiful. In the end, that's the only way I've been able to find hope that there's something better than this when this is done, because I'm done with this. Like, I just want to go to Florida.
Hey, Hayes, along the same lines as this entire podcast, I want to ask you, so a guy we had on the podcast from your office, Demarie,
Yeah,
he had a talk at work, like his TED
he
talk.
did.
Did you go to this?
I was on vacation.
Oh, okay. So I saw him, I guess he reposted it from your office
Was it dope?
Instagram.
I haven't got to listen to it.
He only, it was just the advertising for
His homies did some posters and that kind
yeah
of stuff.
yeah and but it was along the same lines of what we're talking about, of just how to start a conversation with anybody over shoes. So if you watch that, I would love to know what he had, and maybe we can bring him back on the podcast.
I mean, we've talked about this a ton together, but I have not listened.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's an opportunity for us to bring him back on and have him share his TED talk with us. And it looked pretty cool. So I don't know if it's
I'll do
for
that.
public use or just your own company.
It's probably not.
Assume.
It's probably just the company.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Since this is a sneaker podcast, let's jump into a little bit.
Okay,
of
cool.
news
Let's talk
real
about
quick.
that.
We'll just run through it real quick. Okay. I guess it was probably right when we put out our most recent podcast. We got a lot of information about these off-white Air Jordan 2s, the lows.
Bowling shoes?
Yeah, did you guys see Virgil just start? It was actually a podcast, a sneaker podcaster posted about the 2s, and Virgil just opened up a forum in his comments.
No.
Yeah.
I was on vacation.
And people were asking him questions about the 2s, why things were, and he was responding, and there was like 400 comments on this one post. I listened to the guy's podcast the week after, and he was talking about it. I need to find his name. I think his name is Scott Collard. I'll make sure to post his
post that.
Instagram.
I want to know.
But so he's talking about the white and the black and blue Air Jordan 2s and the white and red.
Yeah.
And he's talking about why the signatures are different on them, what the crustacean is on the bottom of the shoe. And so what he was saying in those comments, this was really cool. So that the reason behind the signatures is it's supposed to be like MJ actually signed them, so he would never have signed the shoe in the same spot. But then the coolest part, and it made me really like these. So the bottom, the soles of them, or the I guess the midsoles, that is all looks like crumbled and dated, is actually a scan of some of MJ's like curated pairs of Jordan 2s. And so they scanned them and then they created like the mold out of that. So
Did you know this, Landon? Did you know any of this? No, that's news to you?
I stopped listening at Off-White.
Oh my gosh, you suck. I think that's super cool and interesting. It makes me like them a little bit because even though they're hideous, like it makes me kind of like them.
Yeah, because I mean, at first glance, it just looks kind of gimmicky and just fake, I guess. But I don't know.
It's an Off-White. It's all gimmicky and fake.
Virgil's telling the story behind it. I thought it made it pretty cool. So
that's cool. I will agree with that. That is cool.
Yeah. So go ahead. I'll post it to our Instagram, that some of the comments. And you guys can go check it out.
Let's let Landon post it to our Instagram.
Yeah, we'll see when that happens.
I forgot the password. Sorry, I'm locked out.
Oh my gosh. Or Dan, better yet. What was the last time Dan posted anything? It was like 2 years ago or something?
Yeah, 2019, April of 2019 or something.
Mason, you've been crushing it, especially while I was out of town. Like I was like, oh cow, like he cares.
I've been trying.
He cares.
Trying to bring us up a little.
What it feels like to care.
You just told us how you had an epiphany and you actually remembered your roots of the sneakers at the beginning of this podcast.
And somehow that led to me ranting about politics for like 30 minutes.
Yeah. Maybe we should do like some timestamps in this one so people can fast forward if they don't want to hear your voice talking about politics.
You can just delete all of it if you want to. I don't care. Just delete to the part where I say, look, here's the deal. Like, bam, bam.
Hey, if we lose followers over this, I didn't want those followers to begin with.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything out. I thought it was.
Do you feel like there's any podcast that invites people to unfollow us as much as us?
Definitely not.
I mean, I don't listen to any podcast besides this one, but I mean, I feel like we invite people to not.
Well, I mean, I don't think they're taking our advice because we are consistently at 40. I can pretty much count 38 to 40 listens every single episode. That's it. No more, no less. Doesn't matter what we do.
Wow, that's consistency. That's incredible.
I hope that means that this is endearing, right? It is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like.
So what if this episode only gets like 20?
So be it.
So usually
keep going.
Find more.
Usually I think people
more Swedes.
Yeah, it's over time, right? So so usually the first week is about 20 to 25, but then each week we still have like 40. So they're listening to older episodes. It's not necessarily the newest one that comes out. I don't know how that works really. Maybe they're just listening every week and they're behind. I don't know. But
who is listening to us? That is a legitimate question. Like, we shout out our Instagram, DM us, like, say, hey, like, I'm listening. Like, not people that we know. Like, I would
appreciate that too.
Absolutely.
Drop a DM at Still Drippin' TN and just say, hey, I found your podcast. I'm one of those crazy listeners. Can we put out if someone doesn't have an Instagram account, what's our email? How can they email us?
stilldrippintn@gmail.com.
There you go.
Or you can text me. I would give you my text number live on this podcast, but that would be stupid.
You won't do it.
That'd be dumb.
You won't.
Remember that one time Kanye posted Drake's address and that caused beef? Like, I'm not doing that crap. Like, if you want me, you know how to find me. If you got problems with what I said, so be it. Like, we'll still be. I'm still cool with being cool. Like, that's the irony. I don't give a crap.
So this is my challenge to our 30 to 40 weekly listeners. If we can get 5 DMs, just 5 of, and you can know us. So so don't disqualify yourself if you know us. But if you've listened to this podcast and you follow our Instagram, just shoot a DM and say, hey, I listened. And when Landon put out this challenge, if we get 5 DMs by next week, I'll come out of retirement.
That is
Great.
bold. That's bold
Hey,
considering since you made that statement, you've been a recurring guest every week.
So that being said, I have a shout out / whatever. Mike, still
Dripping bourbon.
Dripping bourbon. He's having surgery tomorrow. This is Tuesday. We record this on Tuesdays. So Mike, I love you. You're one of my best friends. Like I've known you since I was 5. I love you. I hope your surgery goes dope. And you can listen to this while you're doped up. And it'll be sick. You'll be like, Mike and I are on the same wavelength. So he'll be like, oh man, that totally makes sense. Like all of that.
See,
All right.
we need to have Mike on.
Respect.
We need to have Mason,
Seth.
we need to have Seth on.
Danae Blake will be a guest. Like I just have to text him, but you'll be offended, and he wants to offend you. And so
What does Dan bring to this podcast? Does he have any people that listen to this podcast that he's connected with?
I think so.
Do we just need to
Sure.
fire him?
No.
I don't know. No, you should be fired of anybody. Like you've missed the most, right? No,
Yeah,
Dan's
right.
missed the
I
most.
bring half the followers. Everybody knows I'm like I'm the social media influencer of this group.
Yeah, okay.
Mason is the most dedicated. Mason is the Kevin Durant. He's the MVP. I just miss when I'm usually in Florida. So I'm second.
So you're the
Miss
Kyrie
you.
Irving.
I'm fine with that because Kyrie, I'm all about that life, what he's doing right now. Like, come on. He is speaking for everybody. And then Dan's last.
All right. Well, we had a recurring. I'm switching gears on you real quick. We're gonna have to speed through this, Hayes. So we have a new segment that we started last week. Landon and I did it. It's called Top 5. So
Yeah,
we're
I heard
gonna
a little bit about it.
we're gonna throw out something for you.
Let's do it.
All
I
right.
feel like I've talked to way too much on this podcast. So I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know.
all right.
I don't feel very good about that. But
Play the
go
sound
ahead.
bit. I got 5 on it.
Got it good.
All right, Landon. I don't know if you have any ideas for Hayes. I was thinking top 5 Duke players.
Yes. Go.
Kyrie, Zion, Grant Hill, Mike Chappelle. He transferred to Michigan State, so I like that. And then the last one would be the dude who just transferred. He also transferred from Duke to DePaul. Oh man, he was on the team 2 years ago with Zion. Oh shoot, what was his name? Anybody
I have
that
no idea.
transferred, but those 3, Kyrie, Zion, Grant Hill, and then the 2 people that transferred out of Duke to other places.
And I wish I would have said top 5 most hated, but so I think this has got to be the first and maybe only podcast that I don't even know what guy you said Mike Chappelle is on. He
That's
doesn't
deep.
get
That
many
is
name
deep.
drops, I'm sure.
That is
Spoken like
deep.
a true closet Duke fan.
That is deep in the vault. Like, no. Don't get me wrong. To be a good fan or true fan, you got to know your enemy like you do yourself. Like I know my enemy. Say what you want.
Fair. That's fair. Landon, you got any top 5s you want anybody to answer?
Top 5 favorite
Man.
episodes of Still Drippin' from our most valued repeated listeners.
Alex O'Connell transferred last year. Shut up. Y'all shut up.
Oh,
I got one for Hayes. Start from here when you ask the question.
I'm tired of this being about me.
I've got 5 questions for Hayes.
5 questions.
5.
You're supposed to give him a
I
top
miss a
5.
week,
the
and like
rails.
all of this podcast has been me ranting about various things. All right.
What's your 5 favorite housing markets?
Hopefully
I got amazing.
Antioch. Antioch, anywhere in Florida, I don't give a crap. I'm going to move there sometime.
Austin,
Maybe
all the places that you've just been.
maybe anywhere on the coast of Florida. It's like Corpus Christi down to Brownsville. Like that would be 3. 4. I could live in like Charleston, South Carolina, and the last one would be, man, just anywhere on the coast. Like I just want to be in the ocean or close to it. I don't care.
So California.
No, I don't want to go. That's too crazy, man. It's too not middle. I got to be in the middle. So what's a good middle ground? People that are reasonable and have a good expectation on people in life. Like, I don't know.
Kansas City.
No, it's not close enough to the coast. Georgia. I would live in the coast of Georgia, like from Savannah down to
You're crazy.
I might be crazy. I
That's
just want to be close to the
right
ocean.
as the actual geographics of the
Just
state.
missed it. You just missed what I said. Like my number one thing is I love the ocean. It makes me feel more alive. It makes me feel like
You make me feel
God
alive.
is breathing in my ear. Like
I know
I
God
just wanna be
breathed
close to
on
the-
this. I know God breathed on this.
I just want to be in a
Nothing.
coastal area that's got ocean water.
What do y'all think about these masks that Kanye's wearing? Like the Halloween masks. Have y'all seen the flesh colored?
Oh, I've been
masks?
gone, man. I haven't paid attention to
He's
nothing.
gone. He's off the ledge.
We would be homies. Like that guy thinks like I think a lot of the times.
He speaks like well, no, I'm not gonna whoa. Let's backtrack that statement. He says a lot of the things that I think people are unwilling to say, and then
Which
they
I
throw him under the bus
love.
for it.
Whether it's right or wrong, I just love people that will just say whatever they think. Like, I love that. That's why I love Kyrie. Like, he just says what he thinks. He doesn't care whether you like it or not. He's just going to say that guy bought a house for George Floyd's mom. Like, I respect that person that's just going to do them and not care about your opinion. That's my point of view.
All right, now I'm gonna try to redirect us back on the rails once again. Any picks of the week?
Those masks that Kanye's been wearing.
I actually have some real ones. I wrote this down.
Go for it.
Supreme North Face is always a thing that
Garbage.
I don't like them this time, but historically, Supreme North Face is this week.
It's dead. Supreme's dead.
Would you just shut up? I'm trying to give these listeners actually something that's related to our topic.
No, I guarantee you. Okay, if you listen to this podcast and you care about Supreme, DM us. If we don't get a DM by next week, we'll never talk about Supreme again.
Or do you mean unfollow? Unfollow us.
What? No, they just don't listen. What?
All right.
I just want somebody to DM us and say, I listened to you this week.
Okay. That's the pick of the week. Is just to hit our DM, text me, or Landon or Mason,
Or email us. stilldrippingtea@gmail.com. Stilldrippingtea.
Tweet us.
Tweet us.
All right. Can I give
I'll give
another
you my address.
All right.
Send me a piece of mail.
This is not shoe related. Shocker. Bruno Mars announced with Anderson .Paak that the Silk Sonic album comes out on November 12th. So that is a must cop. I don't care. You drop what you're doing on November 12th. I put it in my calendar. You're going to go get that. And it's going to be so sick. I guarantee you. I'm doing that. That's a pick of the week. Also on November 5th, I've been saving up all my losses for the Georgetown Dunk Low. So we got 2 weeks, 2 weeks from tomorrow or Wednesday, Thursday. It doesn't matter. Either way, you know what I'm saying? Like save up all your stuff and get your size, Mason. Like just go for a 12, 11 and a half or 12 Georgetown Dunk Lows on sneakers. Go for that one.
Oh, I got a pick of the week.
All right,
Y'all
hit us.
Here we go.
Bear bricks. Y'all know what bear bricks are? It's like a statue, kind of looks like
Yeah, we know
Legos.
Yes, yes.
They go for thousands of dollars. Bape is doing a ready-made ghillie suit bear brick, and it's like, look at this. It looks like a hunting suit. It doesn't even look like a bear brick.
That's kind of dope.
That's so
That's
stupid.
so
That looks like an
so
Ewok. That looks like a freaking
Retail,
Ewok.
Just guess what the retail is on this thing.
500.
Higher.
Oh my gosh.
12, 11, 11,
Higher.
99, 99.
Higher.
17. Just tell us.
29.60.
Oh my gosh.
That is ridiculous.
The rails. Because that's a triple collab. It's Bape, Ready Made, and Medicom.
Before we sign off, remember, as Landon says, send us some mail. Let us know you're listening.
Mm-hmm.
You're the
Just
only reason
DM
we
us.
do this.
I
Actually,
just want to
DM us.
DM.
You
I'll
know,
start
it's a
making
question.
the videos again.
If you have a
I'll make the
question,
videos
like
again.
seriously, there's people that are listening to this, and so just tell us who you are, and
What
come
you-
on the
what
show.
you want us
and
to
we'll
talk
ask you
about.
questions.
because
Yeah.
we really don't care what you want us
We
to
are
talk
for the
about.
people,
Oh,
right?
We don't care about you.
We are a democracy for real. Like
Wear
we are
what you
America
love, but
wishes
we're
they
gonna
were,
fun of you because it's garbage.
and that too.
But wear what you like.
exactly. And if you tell us your interest, we'll probably bring it up on a later podcast and tell you to unfollow us.
Probably.
That's okay.
That's my challenge. If you're still listening at the end of this episode, DM us a topic that we've never talked about, and we're gonna have a week to do research and just talk about it.
Follow us.
DM
and
us.
DM us and like, subscribe, give us a review. We haven't had a review in a minute, and we'll read it on the air. Hayes, you also missed this on your top 5 places you want to move.
Oh, Canada. Oh, land.
Hayes, you want to close us out with
I thought I
a
already
lesson?
did, but yeah, here's the lesson. Treat people like you want to be treated, and you're not going to have to worry about half the crap that's thrusted down your throat that we are about as American society. It's just not true. Love people. Doesn't matter. Like,
Or
just make good
It's your
decisions.
Freedom.
Make good decisions.
Or don't.
And treat people like Jesus.
Hey, be
It's
safe
all
out
going to be
there.
fine.
Don't catch that vagina virus.
I'm done. How did that happen? How did any of that just happen?
I don't know what we just went through.